Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Show. This is Jake. I will be your host today.
That was over dramatic.
Shut up and sit down.
Because this message is for the experienced cyclists who've been at this a long time. You guys do not screw this up.
I see you clean driven. You never ever manage. Clean is the new square. Clean was for last year.
Do not screw this up and make cycling this obnoxious, exclusive sport anymore with your dumb rules and making fun of the new guy on the group ride.
Here's my sunscreen. I got the disc brake. I got my fork ranked. I got my seat dropped. I push it real.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Dr. Martin Luther King once said that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Well said.
Roadies doing laundry for every little spill. I wrote it so hard. I got dirt in my grill.
And you answer them. You help people out, but you don't shame them. You don't make fun of them. This is a community that we're all in.
I got a 9-inch travel. Got 30 inches. 30 girls.
Everyone who learns how to ride a bike now is going to be one less person who's honking at us in the street later. It's going to be more people who are advocating for bike lanes and safety.
That's right. Gotta get dirty.
We have another chance at cycling being awesome, and let's take advantage of it. Let's grow this community together, all of us.
Cycling is a lifestyle capable of improving the world. It is also a way of bringing people together.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing, and I'm here with Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look tan and leathery. Tan and tan. You look fantastic.
Fantastic.
No, you guys, you don't, Lance, you don't look like you've gotten too much sun. You haven't gotten burnt too badly.
I try to avoid the sun, really. But my nose got a little cherry red. That's for sure.
And that voice you hear right there, Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler. Yes, I'm sitting near a beach on Hawaii at the moment, but we have packed up and are headed to the airport after we record this podcast because I've spent a week here and that's all I can afford.
He decided he's going to come home to make it snow, so everybody can thank Lance for that, huh? Hey, Matt, who's that guy to Lance's digital left?
The legend.
The legendary.
Evan.
Oh, man.
The one, the only, what you drinking, Evan Price.
It has been too long, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce myself here and this new thing I have next to me. I have my wonderful dog here with me, Pac-Man, who is way better than Piper as a dog. But
way better.
Fighting words.
Everyone knows it.
I'm 100% joking. Lance, Piper could run circles around this pathetic dog. Trust me. This guy could not hold a candle to Piper in any distance or event of any kind. So.
Piper, even myself. So
it is kind of like you guys have them backwards, because Piper does not sit still for a second, and she's constantly running and sprinting everywhere. That's Evan. And then Pac-Man, when he wants to, you can get after it, I'm sure. But he's just kind of like, chill. Let's go do something. Let's go for a walk. Let's go look around and see things. So maybe you guys.
And this is why Pepper's perfect for Matt is because Pepper's annoying as heck and nobody wants him on the podcast. So
just like the owner.
Love it.
I don't show up for months. I just come in just insulting everybody right away.
We'll take it. We'll take what we can get.
Awesome. All right. Hey, let's jump right into our topic for the day. And the topic's going to be a good one because we all have something to say. We're going to do the old hot seat. You guys want to do some hot seat?
The old hot seat.
Try and prove it.
So hot, you gotta listen naked.
Put your clothes back on, Lance, though. All right. I want to start first, and I think this might actually be a good one because I'm sure Evan's got a lot to say about it. But are you guys, ingesting all kinds of baking soda now? You guys are snorting the baking soda, adding it to all of your drinks, and shooting up in your veins.
I think that's dangerous. Is it? Do you get like massive diarrhea if you?
You might get a case of the cha-chas.
It's not. I mean, that's nothing for Lance, but the rest of us.
Just combine it with a bunch of ketones. Just throw a bunch of ketones in there with some baking powder and anything else.
I've missed what has happened, Jake. So please explain your question.
Well, it's been a long proven thing that adding sodium bicarbonate, if if I'm not mistaken, to your diet can help you with buffering lactic acids and things of that nature. The problem is when you do ingest baking soda, it causes all kinds of tummy issues. And I've actually even read some articles on it where they've talked about brown bibs and whatnot, the brown bib syndrome, which is kind of a gross thing. So I was like, that was like a little TMI there article I was reading. But hey, you know what? But the supplement maker, is it Horum? What's the one that starts with an H? Anyway, I'll look it up and give you the name of the company. But they seem to have figured it out. They've got it into a gel kind of a serving, and they have you eat some other sort of like a gelatin based supplement before you intake that, which creates a lining in your stomach, and it doesn't cause the GI issues that people are having. And they've been working with a lot of the pro tour teams. Okay. Jumbo Visma being like one of their guinea pigs through this whole process, and who are using it full bore now. And they've got some teams that they've sponsored. But
who wants to be the guinea pig on that one?
I don't know. Well, they said the entire team, with the exception of Jonas Vingegaard, are using it because he's too sensitive to it.
Yeah.
But
so that's the thing is, I think you need to. It's basically it's a lot similar to a lot of things where you have to train your gut a bit. And it's all about dosing, right? Like if you do too much of that, I promise you, doesn't matter what kind of lining you put before it. Yeah, you're gonna brown bib syndrome.
Exactly. It's just like using like magnesium. I don't know if you use magnesium for sleeping and relaxation and calming your nerves and all that stuff. It works fantastic. However, use too much, and you're going to be in the bathroom for a bit. So it's a good way to lose a few pounds if you need to drop some weight.
There you go.
So do you think Jonas, after getting his booty absolutely handed to him by Pogačar, is going to jump on the bicarbonate train here next?
It's quite possible. So
no, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think ketones had a similar issue where it was just rough on some people's guts, and then there's a couple companies that have come out with they're claiming that they're doing a much better job now with the GI distress. So I think, it's almost like these home remedies become once they get into the mainstream, some company's going to find a way to make your gut deal with it a little bit better, and people just start utilizing it. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they try in the Tour though. So I'm not always sold on something when they're like, hey man, this Tour de France team is trying this. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, they could also try it for 2 years and move on to something else if it's not effective. I mean, Jumbo Visma was pretty fast over the last couple of years too. So I haven't seen any massive results out of Jumbo Visma that's so different than previous years where I'd be like, wow, this is could change the game or anything like that.
Well, based on some of the reports that they're getting from some of the riders, though, they are coming out and outwardly saying that it's not game changing, but it's very significant in terms of the performance enhancement they're seeing from it, especially late in the races when they've really got to go hard when the pace picks up or coming into a sprint for a finish.
This is a pretty old known performance enhancer.
It is.
But it was always an issue getting it to be able to be delivered to the body. So the fact that they're coming up with a means to kind of bypass all of the issues for most people, and if you're supplementing correctly and you're able to get a little bit of a boost, it's something that you got to look at. And they're actually even talking about like the UCI looking at this and whether or not it's something that they need to either regulate or outwardly just say you're not allowed to use that.
Just ban it, UCI.
Just ban it.
You ban certain angles of the handlebars. And what are we just going to be like, oh, yeah, you can use these random supplements? Like, come on, there's like, anytime this stuff goes public like this, it's only a matter of time before it's going to get banned. And then just triathletes will use it.
And you know that some poor souls reading these things, they're like, I don't want to buy all of the supplements, but I'm going to give that a shot. And they're going to go take it. And it's either going to like, hopefully not kill them,
bibs.
But brown bibs. Yeah, it's just going to be a very, very miserable experience for them.
Yep.
If you're at a local road race this year and a guy poops his pants, then that is just like now a positive test then, right? I mean, is that
probably
is that like, well, okay, he overdoses sodium bicarbonate then. So.
Yeah. Evan, is this something you would use or is it something you've considered using?
No, I would. Ketones is the only thing that I'm like, I would somewhat consider, but not in racing. I would never use a supplement in racing in any capacity. I don't want to mess around with gut issues there's no quicker way to lose a triathlon than spend 3 trips to a portalet. There's no quicker way. So
obviously you wouldn't use it going into a race and have never used it before. But I mean, would you tinker with it in your training to see how it feels?
No. The only reason I wouldn't tinker with that in training is because I believe that that's crossing a line. I think it's crossing a line.
Okay,
that's my opinion.
I've known
about sodium bike.
Yeah, it's old.
Is a personal line, but then I'll cheer for anybody who does it. So that's how I. But I mean, like Matt knows about me. Is like I don't even take a multivitamin. Like I just don't like.
Last time you had an ibuprofen? Have you had an ibuprofen in the past 2 years?
No. The only time I ever had an ibuprofen in my life, you saw it. So
yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
When was that?
Yeah, it was when
I don't even remember
when I had that mid-ear infection. And
that was bad.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The company that makes the supplement is Martin. So that's spelled MAURTEN.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I use them for my nutrition. Yeah,
and they're saying that they're the manufacturer of the groundbreaking carb-laden hydrogel drinks and gels that are guzzled in masses in men's and women's races before World Tour races.
Did they say guzzled? Is that the actual word?
Those are the words that they use. Guzzled.
I think of like the only guzzling is the emptying of your wallet that happens.
Exactly. $3 per gel.
Your money can be guzzled out of your wallet and into their pockets.
Yeah, they are pretty pricey. The Swedish brand is pretty expensive, but people seem to like the stuff. Yep. Don't you use Martin, Evan?
I do.
Yeah, and
for only for key sessions and training.
It's too expensive to do it.
Yeah, it's too. I buy new Martin gels probably every 2-3 months.
Gotcha. Lance, is it something that you would consider using? He's already probably placed his order while we're sitting here.
Yeah, that's the reason he's been quiet. Is he just ordered this off Amazon right now?
I'd be willing to give it a try and see what happened if it's legal and it's okay. I mean, I tried the ketone route a couple years ago. I didn't really find a whole lot of results with it. But they've actually changed ketones quite a bit. They're probably a lot more effective now than they used to be. But I haven't tried them again. But I will. But the sodium bicarbonate stuff, it's certainly intriguing to me, and if it's legal and okay, I might give it a try in some training situations and see how my stomach reacts. I tend to have a pretty steel stomach and stuff doesn't bother me, but funny enough, this whole week I've been in Hawaii,
you've been pooping your pants.
I've been brown cowing it all week.
Sorry, dude.
But maybe it's just too much fun. It's an overload of fun is what the problem is. Yeah,
gotcha.
So.
And a quote directly from Martin says, if you look at the World Tour level, there are dozens of riders from teams we do not sponsor that are placing orders. Yeah. So there's obviously something there. I mean, I don't think people would be taking it for, any other reason that it's working. I mean, it's not a placebo thing here necessarily. I mean, if they're getting honest to goodness results and riders are coming out and saying this stuff is game changing. I mean, Roglic is saying that it's what helped him in the Tokyo Olympics get gold. I don't know. It would be interesting to try. I have no idea what the stuff costs, but it would be interesting to try.
I think if anything that there's revolutionary bit to it, it's probably the fact that Martin is packaging it decently and making it easy to consume on the bike because I mean, it's as a powder, it's not something you want to ingest. I mean, sodium bicarbonate, I mean, you can think of it just like the baking soda that's in your kitchen or whatever. So somehow if they're adding it to their gels or something like that, I think a lot of these nutrition companies have been using it as part of, it might even be in some of your pre-workout kind of drinks or something like that. I would take a look at that and see if there's anything in there that looks familiar in the ingredients. But, a lot of those things, again, proper dosage, they do work.
If you want to give it a shot too, I would highly recommend that you chase it with some vinegar because I heard that makes you really fast.
Yeah. That's the old volcano experiment, right? Isn't that the volcano experiment?
You get a volcano out of every orifice.
Oh, boy.
Oh, any other thoughts on that? I mean, do you guys, Matt, is it something that you would try?
No, because, and the only reason I wouldn't, so I've been in a weird spot where 5 years ago, I would do all kinds of just try anything to make sure that I'm having good races, at the top, at the whatever I could do. Because you really are investing a ton of time and money, and your time is money in a lot of cases where it's like everything kind of leads up to that Ironman race.
Sure.
Now, that's not the situation for me. So it's 5 years ago. Yes, I would have experimented, try to get dosing perfect so that I could take full advantage of everything that's within the rules so that I'd have the best chance of qualifying for Kona. But right now, where it's like, whether I go to my local triathlon and I go 5 minutes faster or not doesn't even matter. It's that much.
You're missing a huge opportunity. You could come out and crush the Fog Hat Social Ride.
If I only had the sodium bicarbonate, I could probably crush. Yeah, that's what's missing. That's what's missing from my training.
Yep. All right. Well, Evan, have you heard of anything else out there on the streets that we should be taking?
Drugs.
Well, apparently runners in Kenya right now are still using the good old EPO. If you guys heard, I know Matt just heard this. Zane Robertson. Yeah.
He's from New Zealand.
Tell you what, guys,
he trains in
New
Kenya.
Zealand. Yes,
he trains in Kenya and in Ethiopia. And he got popped for EPO.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Big name to get popped.
Yeah. So. He was the New Zealand
don't you guys just miss the good old days when it was just testosterone and EPO? Like it was like, all right, what do you get popped for? It's like, you did another blood bag. You're like, oh man, Alberto, come on.
It's almost, don't you feel like it's almost like the people that are getting caught are like, you're just not thinking, man.
You're so dumb then. You're so dumb. Like you're either really, so this is also the reason that I don't, anytime something's cycling around the tour peloton, if it's individual riders buying it, I really don't care as much. As soon as like Pogacar's coach is on it, then I care, because those are physiologists. Those guys know what they're talking about. Most of the tour guys, I mean, they're just guys that ride bikes.
Yep.
So if their buddy's like, hey man, just crush this workout, feeling great, use this random powder. Yeah, I think the 22-year-old who just like made the Euro Peloton's going to be like, well, if he's doing it, I got to do it. Like there's no scientific process thinking there. Like I would love to do a placebo study where I passed around like sour candy powder.
Right.
And like had Eric Zabel tell everybody it was like the bee's knees, and see how many guys the next year are doing it. I bet half the Peloton would be doing it the next year.
You can only buy it from Evan Price, and it's $20 a pill.
We need to try this. It's just mystery powder to hand around the pro Peloton.
Dr. Price, do you have any more of those Skittle flavored drugs that make me run fast?
Mike's secret stuff. Yeah.
Good times. All right. Anything else on that topic? Or is that enough? All right.
No.
Good.
It's hot. Matt, you got something?
I got a softball hot seat question for you guys. Which classics race is the best?
Oh no, I like that question.
Yeah, I mean it's time. It is the time. Did you guys?
It is.
Was it Milan San Remo on Sunday? Did you guys? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Did you guys watch?
It was a great race.
Anybody?
Yeah.
What happened?
Of course.
Oh wait, I know that we're going to do our talk later, but come on, just tell me what happened. I didn't see it.
Matt.
Matthew
Vanderpool.
It's actually a very brilliant race. Yeah, Matthew Vanderpool kind of he kind of pulled it off and took it to his other compatriots who it was a pretty fun race to watch. So
is that the best classics race that there is on the calendar?
No. Milan San Remo is 200K of snoozing and then a race basically. So it's amazing finish. I mean, the Poggio is still the best 5 minutes of cycling all year. I mean, it's amazingly intense. But I don't think a sprinter's ever going to win this race again. These guys are too strong. Like MVP, Wout, Pog, Ghana, they're not letting a group come to the line anymore.
You could argue that those are sprinters. Some of the names you just mentioned, they're all arounders.
Yeah.
But they got some get up and go. I mean, who had the green jersey last year? I don't know. It's just like
That's true. That is very true. Yeah. I would my pick is this is boring, but I just think genuinely it's such an awesome race because it's so wild the entire time. It's Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
Paris-Roubaix is my favorite.
That's the safe answer.
I mean, it is. Yeah, and it's also, too, the best part that I like about Paris-Roubaix is the guy that you think is going to win usually does not win Paris-Roubaix.
That's true.
Which makes it really, really cool. I feel like Flanders is an awesome race. But Flanders, in my opinion, it's like, okay, strongest dude on the day is probably going to win that race. Paris-Roubaix has so much crap happen during it, and so many tactics just from when is a team going to burn its matches? When are you going to go all in? I think Paris-Roubaix is the best race to watch start to finish.
And I think
the Sprint Classics.
The cobble sections are so, I wouldn't say irregular, but like kind of sprinkled throughout the race enough where it's almost like you kind of want to constantly tune in to see what the big thing that's going to happen is coming up.
And how fun is it to watch the end of that race if there's still riders together?
Oh, yeah.
On the velodrome, I mean, you go through all of this hell, and then you're in the velodrome playing this cat and mouse game of like, all right, who's going to lay it down on the last lap, and who's going to be the victor here? So it's an interesting, very diverse race.
It's a cool race.
Yeah. What about you, Lance?
I hate to say this, but I agree with Mr. Evan Price.
Woo! Oh, no. There we go.
Paris-Roubaix is just it's exciting and fun from start to finish because there's so many great cobble sections. Unlike Milan-San Remo, it has 10 great minutes of racing and 6 hours of boredom. So Paris-Roubaix is probably number one in my book.
256 kilometers.
Is Strade Bianche considered a classic yet, or is that still no?
On the bubble.
When does it get inducted? Like when is it allowed to be a classic? Because that race is awesome. I still would rather watch Paris-Roubaix, but Strade Bianche every year I look forward to now. I know it's only like 10 years old or
less.
That's
the thing. I think that these races have to be like 400 years old to be able to be considered.
Okay.
So you gotta wait a while.
Our great grandchildren will get to have the talk where they're like, Strade Bianche is now just old enough to be a classic.
Just now.
This brand new race.
If you're interested in watching the Paris-Roubaix, it comes to us on Sunday, April 9th, which is 2 weeks from Sunday. Sorry, I just said Sunday.
Yep.
So good times. Are we all in agreement then? It's pretty much Paris-Roubaix.
I think that's a safe.
Yeah.
That's like the Super Bowl of the spring classics.
The classics.
Like it. That's a good question. Yep. Exciting stuff. It's coming up soon. Evan or Lance, which one do you guys want to go? Do you guys want to do the digital Rochambeau? See if you can come
Me.
up.
Oh, no. Let's do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper.
Shoot.
Wait a minute.
That was the worst Rochambeau I've ever seen right there. So they're both bouncing their fists up and down.
We have like digital delay.
Yes, that was rock. I got you.
All right.
Evan's rock beats Lance's scissors. All right, you get to go next. Go.
All right. The cheesiest, way too early question that I love asking this time of year. After Paris-Nice, we all should already know this answer, but who's going to win the Tour de France? We all know Paris-Nice is the end-all decider already.
It's already been decided, guys.
Do we want to say who's going to come in second place? I mean, I think we're all going to probably put the same person at the top of the heap. I don't know. We do have Evan here. I'm sorry.
So here's the thing. Pogacar looks so strong, and I think he's hungrier than ever.
We talked about this. His team got better.
We're going to keep talking about it until the race is over.
Yeah.
It's just going to be fun. But yeah, I think he's the safe bet. But maybe has he peaked too early? That's the real question. Is like he's racing and he's racing extremely well. His form is good. Has he peaked too early?
No, he's still climbing. He's still getting faster and stronger, and that's why he's going to crush.
We'll see.
He's only going to get faster. That's just my 2 cents. But Evan, it sounds like you have some contrarian response here.
No. Lance gets to go first.
My thought is that it's kind of Pogacar's race to lose, but Vingegaard could be building towards that, whereas Pogacar could already be peaking early season. It's kind of hard to tell. So, but I would pick Pogacar too.
All right,
Jake.
I'm gonna say Pogacar. You can't. I said it last week. I said it again right now. Pogacar, and I'll say it to you next week, and I'll say it to you at the start of the race, and at the end of it all, it's Pogacar.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not Richie Port.
Egan Bernal. Price.
So is everybody ready for the incorrect answer now?
Yes.
All right. So this is not being a prisoner of the moment. He's a young man. He is very, very talented, but unfortunately he is French. David Gaudu looked excellent in that race. Now, this is not a mystery. Remember, he was very competitive in the Tour last year. he was almost next best up behind Pog and Vingegaard. I think as much as I would love to say, hey, Vingegaard's just building, he's just building. Vingegaard might have had his year, and I am not sure if he's going to have the same type of growth that Pogačar is going to have. Now, the only way that Gadu wins, Pogačar is going to have to go wild the first week like he usually does. Gadu will be patient. He will be next best. And unfortunately, I do think Pog might have something happen to him. I don't think he's going to win the Tour this year. I think that also Jumbo-Visma is so strong. They're going to bait him again and again into multiple huge efforts like they did this last year. They're smart. Pog is amazing, but I don't think he races nearly as smart as Jumbo-Visma does. And next best up will not be Vingegaard. It's going to be David Gadu. And I think David Gadu will win the Tour this year.
So if David Gadu
France will go wild.
Crazy. That would be, I would love to see that.
France will lose their absolute minds.
Price, if he's on the podium, I am buying you a beer.
Oh, I appreciate that.
If he's even on the podium.
He's an amazingly talented climber. So that guy will be in the final moves at the Tour for sure. Whether he beats Pog or not, heads up, is beside the point. I'm not saying he's a better rider than Pogačar, but I think Pogačar will get baited into more bad decisions in the first week.
We know it to be true because Evan Price has predicted it.
Did you know that our own Sir Ian Gibson, who was on the podcast not too long ago, actually rode with Gadu in Tenerife? Probably like a month or two ago. Yeah. He was riding and he sensed these guys come up and he looked over his shoulder and it was Gadu and some other pro. And they're hammering up a hill and they're at a conversational pace for them. And Ian was holding their wheels for like 5 or 10 minutes and just absolutely dying, turned inside out trying to keep up with them. But yeah, it was kind of cool that he got to ride with those guys.
That's awesome.
So Evan, here's my hot take, Evan. Gadu either won't get picked by his team to do the Tour de France or he won't finish it if he is picked.
I will say, do you guys remember the year that Pinot pulled out because like his knee like got hurt or something like that? I had told Kit that year, I was like, guaranteed Thibaut Pinot's on the podium.
So here's
I was like, right.
It's like the kiss of death being picked by Evan Price.
Exactly. And so my point is, the French are like singing Evan Price's praises right now. Oh, he knows he's the best. He knows the Gadu's going to win. The people that are in the know who are French are cursing Evan's name right now because he just lost the Tour. So yeah.
Exactly. I'm worse than GCN. GCN has some terrible picks, but I am amazing. I am amazingly worse.
That's pretty cool. For those of us who took Pogačar, let's assume that Pogačar, I don't know, doesn't finish or doesn't come in first, or if you had to pick a second place, are you going to take Gadu?
You take Vingegaard.
Yeah,
those guys are. I mean, you really have to look at last year's results. They are cut above, and they don't. I don't see any problems. This year. I mean, I don't think Vingegaard is like firing on all cylinders, but I don't see any reason not to pick him.
Let's say that he doesn't pick it up, and let's say that he goes into the Tour like he is right now. Do you think Roglic is going to step up and be the GC guy?
That's a big question because I think Roglic might be racing the Giro. I need to look at that. He might be Giro.
Would they not take him to the Tour? I mean, who?
I think Jumbo is in trouble if Vingegaard isn't in peak Tour form. I mean, just for the Tour, they're in big trouble because I don't think Roglic is going to be. I mean, there's just too much history with him of not being able to hold through a whole Grand Tour successfully at that level. So I think Jumbo's in trouble if Vingegaard's not the choice.
He's getting up there. He's getting up there in age, but he's had a really good spring so far. He's looked really strong. So I mean,
he looks good.
Whatever World Tour he goes to, I think he's going to do well. I think that if he does go to the Tour de France, I think he's going to be there in support. But if Vingegaard should step down or not have his best race or get hurt or something along those lines, I think that he's a formidable component to this whole podium talk. I mean, I think that he's somebody that could come in there and surprise us. He's looking good. But I don't know,
I would love to see Roglic go out and win the Tour. That'd be actually amazing to watch that guy really competitive.
Such
It'd be
a nice
huge
guy.
story.
Yeah, that would be fantastic for him. But
I think a lot of us would root for him. But I do like Pogačar too. I mean, I don't dislike any of those three guys that are.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
Seriously, look at Gadu as like a dark horse. I don't know if I necessarily put him on the podium,
Now
but
that
I don't think Evan's wrong. But
now that Price has picked him,
yeah,
that really hurts his chance. That hurts his chances really badly.
That really screws him. Well, I mean, it's going to depend on who Ineos wants to put out too, because Ineos is a great team right now. Ineos is racing well. Yeah. Danny Martinez. Egan Bernal.
Egan Bernal, I think that they just announced that he wasn't going to do any Grand Tours this summer. I don't know. Let me find the article.
News to me, but yeah. All right. Well, that's a good question, Evan. I like it. Yep. Anybody else have a response to that? Anything else they'd like to say?
Good.
All right. Cool. Well, Lance, what do you got?
Well, I don't have a real interesting question, but this new SRAM transmission.
Oh, good. That is a great question.
Is completely intriguing to me. And if what you know about it, is this something you would want to put on your mountain bike?
Yes. Simple answer, yes.
On my mountain bike? Well, no.
In full disclosure, I still have not sat down and fully dug into it, but I've seen enough and read a few bits and pieces and watched the beginning of a video that I still haven't finished it. I need to go back and do that. But from what I'm seeing and what I'm reading and just kind of like understanding what it is that what they've accomplished with this, yes, absolutely. It's something that I want to read. And I do have the Pacific Northwest regional manager from SRAM coming in to visit with me on Friday.
Cool.
So maybe, Lance, if you want to be there to talk shop, he might actually be bringing some of the stuff, and we're going to go do a full dive on it, and we're going to get fully up to speed. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But
I might that, yeah.
What's that?
So I might want to be there for that because that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This SRAM transmission, the biggest thing with it is it does away with derailleur hangers. There's no more.
That's cool.
Derailleur hanger.
But is it cool? But is it?
We don't know.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like
it's a new design. It's unique enough. That's why it's cool.
One of the biggest things that is a plus or a pro for derailleur hangers is to protect your frame and to protect your rear derailleur.
How many of us have broken? How many of us have broken a derailleur hanger? I'm sure all four of us.
I would much rather break my derailleur hanger than the derailleur.
That's the whole.
I mean, a new SRAM red derailleur, those things are $750. Or a frame, if you break your frame, that's thousands of dollars.
And the way that those things are designed, it looks to me like it's not going to be easy to replace. No. It kind of comes down on two pieces.
Yeah,
I imagine if that part breaks, that's
or
pricey.
is it bomb proof? Is it bomb proof?
Well, something can break.
Something's going to be the weakest link there.
They keep showing videos and pictures of people standing on the derailleur and it not.
Oh, wow.
The bike laid down on its side and standing on the derailleur because it's a whole proprietary system. You have to use their cassette, their chain ring, chain, all of it. And all those things work together. And so the derailleur doesn't connect into where a hanger would go. It actually connects into where your through axle goes.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole different system that it just is way more bomb proof. And the beauty of it is it will shift crisply under load.
Which is fantastic.
You can be going full sprint or up a hard climb and shift, and it will shift quickly. It will shift crisply without skipping.
There's no frame changes that need to be made. It just goes into the skewer, not the skewer.
That's right.
That's why you hear that?
The crowds.
Oh, you know who that is? That's Ruckus Composites. They're celebrating right now about all of the chain stays and seat stays that they're going to be fixing because of this. Yikes. I don't know, man.
Let's test it by standing on Jake's rear derailleur now.
Sure.
And then we'll try it afterwards with the new components and see which one holds up better.
In principle, I think it's a fantastic idea. I need to know a little bit more about this. And it's like, all right, what are you going to do to protect the frame? That to me is pretty important. Frames, to get something repaired, Lance knows it's not cheap. I mean, you're having to repair all the carbon, then you're going to try and paint match it, and you want it to be done professionally. You don't want it to be some janky garage project that you're doing. You're looking at fixing a rear triangle. You're looking at about $700, if not more, to have that repaired. If for some reason the rear derailleur takes a big giant hit, hits the ground, and cracks one of those stays. I mean, it's just something that could get kind of nasty. Now, maybe this kind of starts to force a change in the cycling world. Maybe they start to beef up or use different materials, or who knows, whatever they're going to do to that particular part of the bike where the drop and the through axle goes. But
it is interesting, isn't it? It's like where something the rear derailleur takes a big hit. Where does that force go?
Yeah.
Does it go almost into the hub area of? I mean, I'm very curious about this as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit skeptical of a spokesman from SRAM giving you all the details, because it's going to all be positive.
Of course.
Like, I want to hear negatives. Like, where's this thing break?
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Dude, I would so trust a cycling, like any salesman that came in and was like, no, you don't want this. This is crap. this is so, you'd be like, wow, this guy's great.
I mean, I do like SRAM. They're always pushing the envelope. They're always trying to come out with cool stuff. They're always innovating. And I'm very, very intrigued about this. And if I had my choice to pick between old drivetrain and new transmission, and that's another thing, they don't call it a drivetrain anymore. They call it a transmission for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose the transmission because it sounds like all of the pros that come with it sound fantastic. It's just that one thing that I'm hung up on. Like,
well, I think what you'll find out is a lot of people will gravitate towards it, and then you, being a bike shop owner who works on a lot of bikes, you'll find out what the problems are.
Yeah, we'll hear about it for sure.
A year from now, if we're having this discussion, you're going to be like, oh, I can give you 10 things that are a problem with the new design.
Sure.
But it still may be better than the previous one. You're just going to find the flaws.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to them for coming out. And I think that they just took another quantum leap away from all things Shimano when it comes to off-road stuff. I don't know anybody that wants to put anything Shimano on their mountain bikes. I mean, Lance, can you think of any reason to put a Shimano group set on your mountain bike these days? Do they even have anything that comes close to? Oh,
their gravel stuff is good, right?
It's all right.
I think people like it.
The gear. I mean, if you're okay with running a 2x drivetrain, yeah, it's fine. It's serviceable, but still winning the whole gravel scene right now is SRAM, in my opinion. Again, just my 2 cents. Lance, do you have any other bits of information or things that you want to share about that transmission?
No, I don't. You know, all these pros have gotten it, and they've all been singing its praises, and it made my eyes go wide, and my
your wallet's hurting.
I think Lance sent me a text message. It was like at, I don't know, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm drooling. I need this."
What are the price points? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
I haven't even looked.
I can look.
It's probably pretty pricey.
I think it's like $500 for the whole system. So,
and you have to get everything.
Cranks, chain rings, cassette, chain, derailleur, all of it.
Nothing's backward compatible.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. No. It's all its own. I'm not going to say proprietary, but it probably is proprietary. It's its own ecosystem, and you can't use anything else. Like shift paddles, shifters, the whole shoot and match. You're having to come out of pocket for. So cool.
Did they just announce this at the Taipei Bike Show?
This past Tuesday. So 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's
we're recording on a Thursday.
Sounds possible.
Yeah. Anything else on that topic, guys?
Oh, I think that's good. I think we're running low on Evan's time window, and I want to hear about his pace.
Yep, I think Evan said he has a little bit more time. Evan had his.
Yeah, I still got like 20 minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
Matt, do you want to come with your hot seat question? Or you did the classics, right?
Classics.
Okay, and then Evan, did you do your? Yeah, you did your question. Lance did his question. So we're done.
We're moving on.
All right. God,
moving on.
Counting is hard sometimes. All right, let's jump into our back pedals, boys. You guys want to do some back pedaling? Should we let Mr. Evan Price go first so he can?
You guys all raced. Everyone raced except for me
and me. I'll get into that.
Okay.
Evan, start us off, bud.
Yeah, Matt, where were you, by the way?
I was
swim.
Just swim meet. Federal Way. The Federal Way swimming pool is amazing. It's it's like this giant 50-meter pool, and then like a diving arena, all indoors, all covered with stadiums on either side. So I was watching Ethan swim. So
didn't they develop that for like the Olympic kind of stuff, like
Olympic trials
and training? Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah,
that's amazing.
It was neat.
Evan Price, you raced last weekend.
Yeah, so we had the Mike Myers time trial, which is just we have just wonderful weather for it, in my opinion, compared to what like Jack Frost historically, and then it was even better weather than last year. Last year it was dry, but I mean, it was still chilly last year, if I remember right, wasn't it? It was a pretty cold day. I mean, this was temperature wise was fine. It didn't rain till later in the day. It was great.
It rained after we had everything picked up. We were standing around. There was about 4 or 5 of us just chewing the fat, talking and kind of recapping everything. And we were just about ready to be done. And all of a sudden, a couple drops started to fall. Like, yep, it's perfect timing. Time to get out of here. So couldn't time that any better.
Yeah. It was just an absolutely perfect window for the road race the day before in Papertown too. And then the time trial, we hit a great slot of weather. But yeah, it was, I'm not going to lie. I'm building up for Oceanside here coming up April 1st. And I really wanted to go fast at Mike Myers. Like I love it's a guy that we all love honoring, and it's a course that a lot of us train on. And I'll be honest, I think I probably train on that stretch of road more than anybody in Vancouver or Portland at the moment.
What do they call it when you're like king of, it's not
local legend?
Local legend. Thank you.
Local legend.
You are the local legend.
Or as we joke now, the least creative route person in all of Vancouver. But
I know that because I have a couple of those local legend things. From I go run around the same circle.
Oh yeah, same spot. So I mean, I love it because it's my own little wind tunnel. I know exactly, how I'm advancing. The wind conditions on the day. It was good wind conditions. It was pretty dead wind.
Good.
Yeah, no stop signs. So it was pretty dead wind that morning. I'm not sure if you noticed anything, Jay, but it seemed. But compared to days previous, the wind definitely was dead, which was good.
Yeah, there was a storm front moving in, so it was the quote unquote calm before the storm, and we had that little bit of cloud cover that came in. It was broken clouds in the morning, then the clouds came in, which kept the temperature up a little bit, and then it was just again the calm before the storm. So it was like pretty dead calm.
It was great, and so I've been trying out a little bit different aero position going into this season. I really like how it feels. I'm on 165 cranks now. So for the first time in a while on the time trial bike, I feel really, really comfortable and strong. So I knew I was going to push good power. Unfortunately, I think my aero position is a little bit more comfortable for longer rides and for how my run legs need to feel coming off. And I just know that after looking at the guy who beat me, who we'll talk about in a second, just an elite aero position. I mean, an absolutely just slippery in the wind position. I have a position I can get to that is close to that, but it is not comfortable for me yet. I mean, that's just not what we train, is that 20K, just hold the ridiculous, like head touching your hands, perfect turtleback type position. So I pushed like basically the best power I could right now. I was 5 watts a kilo, which is, I've wanted to be in that range in the aero tuck for a long time. Cause it's hard. Anybody who's ridden a TT bike knows, Lance knows this, Matt knows this, it is very hard to push big power in the aero tuck. So finally feeling like I can now is good. So everything went right. I, was 2640 and change, which is what I've, just a hair under 28 miles an hour. I wanted to be 28 miles an hour, but
Yep, you were 26 minutes, 49 seconds, and you averaged 27.7 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Fast.
That was my Garmin, my Strava had me at 27.9, but I think my computer started a little late. It's like the auto start, and for whatever reason, it was like 30-40 seconds off on the start. So,
okay, gotcha.
Which is fine. It's not like I'm looking at the power for the first 30 seconds anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good day. Beat myself last year by like 25-30 seconds, I think.
Dude, that's a big
beat the guys
improvement.
it was a big improvement. Definitely beat the guys I wanted to beat. And then, I will admit I was very confident I had it won when I crossed the finish line. I was like, that was it. Like, I got the win. And my butt got absolutely handed to me by 20 seconds by, was it Paul Boursier, right?
Boursier, yep.
Boursier. Okay, so the more people I talk to who know cycling around here, because remember, my road cycling career began in the Midwest, so I have not been road cycling here for a long time. This is not that big of a surprise. This guy is legit. He has a long national championship history. He's a very fast bike rider, but he is 50 years old, 51 years old.
Race age 54.
Wow.
Oh my God. Okay. So, and this is not an insult to Paul in any way. Looking over him in the crowd, he would not be the guy I'd pick out and be like, that guy just smoked me in a time trial.
Evan,
he's
that guy
a smaller, shorter guy.
He has 7 kids that are older than you.
That's incredible.
They all are good at time trialing also.
I am genuinely in awe of this guy. And look, I mean, like, I was so confused after the race. If you want to talk to Dr. Handel about my comments after it, I was like, this guy just smoked me. How did he beat me this bad? Like, I wasn't even in the same ballpark as him. I mean, beating somebody by 20 seconds over a 20K is a thrubbing. Like I got spanked by this guy. And I mean, he just, Josh sends me the pictures of what his aero position looks like and all this. He beat me with his brains. Cause I'll tell you what, I pushed, so just under 350 is what I pushed. So 5 watts a kilo for me. He pushed 304 watts. But
he's
average.
He's pretty small.
Well, he's kind of like Chris Hanel a little bit. Yeah. Chris Hanel puts out about those kinds of watts, and he's not a sprinter. He's not like a big watts kind of. He's strong, and he can put his watts down for a very long period of time. But he is so slippery in the wind, like you said.
Yep,
he is super aero.
Paul just knows how to ride a bicycle. Clearly, he's I'm sure very much worked on his aero position. He knows how to hold it, and that guy. I mean, he just took me to school on over a time trial.
I wonder if there's little spots too where it's like, going around that roundabout turn that's tight, and all these little spots where it's like using every inch of the road on every single turn, like nailing all those little things like that in aero tuck, which is really tricky to do. That he might.
Well, and this was so not that this makes a 20-second difference at all, but there was during my turnaround, there was a car that decided it was going to basically park itself in the turnaround. Our poor volunteers were trying to get this car out of the way, and this lady's just an absolute idiot who's like, "Oh, what's going on today?" Like, head out the window, basically in the turnaround. So I had to squeeze around her, which I mean took a little bit of speed out of my turnaround.
About 21 seconds, if I where I calculate that.
Yeah, that was. I think that was about 21 seconds, and maybe a skin suit gave him another 40 seconds. So no, I'm just, it's. I mean. That has no effect on the end result. He handed it to me for sure.
Now, Lance, you've raced against Paul quite a few times. What do you know about him?
So Paul, there's no shame in losing to Paul Boursier. He has been racing basically at an elite level for almost 30 years. He's been racing for a long time. He does all the racing, everything on the road and cyclocross. He just doesn't do mountain bike racing, as far as I know. But yeah, he'll race in open fields. He's done some 50-plus fields. He's been on the Cyclocross National Championship podium like 3 times or something like that. I don't think he's won it, but I think he's taken second. So I almost beat him in a little cyclocross race 2 years ago because I was faster through one very tricky, difficult section. And so I kept beating him through this section until he would sprint around me right before that section and jump off his bike. So I had to jump off his bike and he beat me as well. So yeah, he's pretty legit. He's also a coach. He does all the types of bike coaching as well. So no shame, Evan. He's solid.
Does he have a little bit of a sprint behind his in his wheelhouse too? I mean, is it something he can do?
Yeah, he does. He can sprint. He is, I mean, of course he knows how to time trial well, but road racing is really his thing.
Yeah.
So
maybe he got up to speed a little bit faster than you. Maybe he just really turned it on there at the end and had a little bit left to give. I mean, there's a bunch of little things, and that's probably what it ended up taking to beat you, was like the sum of all the little parts to get that extra 20-ish seconds.
That was... To be honest, that was for my physiology the best I could have paced it to, because I was joking with everybody after the race. My max sprint going into the last 400 meters was 350 watts. So it was exactly what I averaged.
Yeah.
I got out of the saddle to sprint and literally looked down. I was like, that's the same watts I was just putting out. Like, I had
just less aero.
There was nothing left in the tank at that point. So that was all I had. Funny enough, just with how my training is going. So, and this is not like, I mean, you should still, if you're training for a half Ironman, still be pretty solid over a 20 or 40K time trial. But my training has all been the half iron engine, basically, which is, 300 watts for me. And that is, so as soon as we were done, after I hacked up a lung and went around, amazingly enough, I can't get my legs tired these days. So aerobically, I was completely maxed out during that effort. Like, my aerobic system was like, what on God's green earth are you doing to us right now? But my legs, I could have gone out and done another time trial right after that. That's how if you train really specifically, how specified your metabolic system gets to where I couldn't even put fatigue into my legs at that point. So there was no sprint because there is no sprint in my legs. Like there's nothing there.
Nice. Cool. Right behind you was Rob Tornai from Pacific Office Automation, one of my old, not nemesis, but one of my old, cohorts in the whole racing scene. I used to race against him all the time. He had a really solid time. He beat Dr. Chris Hannell by 1 second. So Chris missed the overall podium by 1 second. He takes his hat off to Rob, and he's a good guy when it comes to all this stuff, but he's like, damn it, I missed it by 1 second. So it was kind of fun to see. But yeah, Chris Hannell, he came in at, looks like 27 minutes and 12 seconds. Again,
Chris had a great day.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, 50-plus-year-old guy still throw it down. So he's, again, like one of those guys that's super slippery, and he can time trial with the best of them.
Yeah. And then right behind him was Josh.
Josh Monda, yeah.
Josh Monda was a couple seconds back on Hannell.
27-18, yep. Wow. Good times. I mean, you guys all crushed. What else you got there, Evan? Anything else?
Rest of your week was fine?
Nope. That's basically it. Yeah. Rest of the week's good. Getting ready for first race block of the year here coming up between Oceanside, then 2 races in end of April and May. So yeah, a lot of racing coming up here.
Cool. Yep. Mr. Hawaii 5-0 over here. What's up, dude?
Yeah. So I missed all the races this weekend because my wife and I came to Hawaii. We've been on Kona, the big island, all week. And I've ridden my bike every day. I took 1 day off actually, but yeah, if I don't really ride on the Queen K too much, which is really the most popular place to ride because it's a highway and there's a lot of traffic on it, and there's really cool roads all around Kona in the Captain Cook area and up in the Hawi Waimea area. Yeah, so I had a great week riding my bike. Of course, it was too hot and humid for me, and I got a little bit of heat sickness that first day because my body just doesn't adjust well to the heat. But I don't know. I had a great time. You can't do a ride here. It's 1,500 feet per 10 miles of ride. Every way you turn, except for on the Queen K, it is a monstrous climb. So I should have brought a bigger cassette. I would have liked that, but I did.
Right on. And you're heading back this evening, yeah?
Yeah, I'm heading back here in a few hours. We'll be home by 1 a.m. Tonight so that I can make it to this mountain bike race on Saturday. That's the plan.
Cool. Anyway. Mr. Matt LeGrand, you got some backpedaling for us?
I ran a lot. Well, I mean, I didn't run a lot, but I ran every day when I was at this swim meet. That was a long one. It was Thursday through Sunday. Just lots of swimming, watching swimming. I didn't get to swim myself. I brought swim stuff just in case. They had some open swim pool time, but they didn't. Of course, the whole facility was locked away for the kiddos. And there was, right outside the big swim area, they had this really nice gravel, crushed gravel loop around a lake. So I just ran there every day. It was good.
Cool.
Didn't bring a bike, because it's a lot to bring and deal with. And since I've been home, I've been swimming every day. So
good for you.
Good. Right. I'm tired. My arms are tired.
Yeah, I had a kind of crappy week last week. We did our we did our team training camp, and I put in 25 hours on the bike, and everything just was going great. Every day, basically stacked on top of the previous day, and I was getting stronger and feeling really good. Came back, I wasn't sure if it was allergies, but I started to feel kind of a little bit run down, if you will, and I ended up getting sick. So
training camp hangover.
The training camp hangover, and it's happened. I mean, we've had 5 training camps, and 3 of the 5 I've gotten sick within a week or 2 of coming back from training camp, and it probably just has something to do with
pushing your body that hard.
Yeah, it's just your immune system becoming compromised and being on plane with a bazillion other people, and all that fun stuff happens. So last week I went down to 5 hours of training, and that was not ideal. And I went out on Saturday, the day before the time trial, and it was a spectacular day. It was the first day that we had like in the low 60s. It was bright blue sunny skies. I'm like, I'm going to go out and ride. And I went out and did a preview of the flogging route that's supposed to start, and went out there. I'm like, all right, I'm going to ride this at a decent pace and do what I need to do to get ready for tomorrow, and do a couple leg openers. And in doing the leg openers, my legs just absolutely rejected that notion, and they're like, we're not going to do this. And so I'm like, this is kind of not good, because I'm not feeling 100%, but I'm not feeling like terrible. Woke up the next morning and it was like I felt like absolute crap, and so I just called it. Went out to the race, kept my distance from everybody, and just called it and said, I'm not going to race today. Just going to take in the day and enjoy it and watch everybody else have fun. So missed the race. Kind of bummed about that. First time since I moved to Washington that I missed that race, other than the COVID year where nobody raced. So anyway, took Monday off as well, and Tuesday got back after it and felt pretty good. We did our gravel ride, which was fun, and 30 miles, and kind of kept it at a moderate clip, and felt good for that. Got back on the trainer last night, and I felt like I could have rode for a couple hours on the trainer, just didn't have time. And tonight starts our flogging rides, which
coming up soon.
It's this evening, and it's in a couple hours. I just don't know if the weather's going to hold out. It doesn't look terrible outside right now, but we'll see what happens. Should be fun. Cool. All right.
Champ here.
Is Champ here? He said he's here. Champ, you here?
Champ. Yeah, there was just a couple things to talk about. Milan San Remo, of course, was a fantastic race. If you didn't hear us talking earlier, we did Matthew Vanderpool ended up winning that with a fantastic move just as they were cresting the Poggio with 5K to go. And he got like a 5-second gap, and it was just enough to hold off Wout van Aert, Felipe Pagana, and Pogacar. So that was a really exciting finish to watch. It was very fun. It was happy for Matthew, so that was very cool race to watch.
Yep.
Other racing, the Volta Catalunya is going on right now, and Remco Evenepoel and Primož Roglic are squaring off with each other. Roglic has kind of had Remco's number, except for yesterday. I think they were even, and then I didn't even see what happened this morning because I've been.
I haven't watched this morning either. We won't spoil it for anybody, but yesterday Remco definitely gave it back to Roglic. He had his number on the sprint. He basically drug him through the last bit of the finish, and then Remco sprinted with Roglic on his wheel and dropped Roglic. So that was Remco was making up for a couple days of Roglic kind of going toe to toe with him.
And I think both these guys are doing
the Giro, I believe.
Yeah, and so they're prepping for that. So it should be
that'll be one heck of a race for I mean Remco's. I hate the guy, but God, he looks really fit right now. He looks very strong at the moment.
He's doing well. He is doing well. So it should be interesting. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thanks, Champ.
Any triathlon news, Evan?
Yeah,
you can think of. I mean, really.
Yeah,
I'll give
some triathlon news. Then I got to head out. So there was a couple weeks ago, since I've been here for a bit, Lionel Sanders gave Super League virtual racing a shot.
Yeah,
virtual, not real Super League, the one where you race on Zwift. But proved that he can push bike pedals really, really hard and also can run fast on a treadmill. So he is very fit. Yep. And then the next week he went to Challenge Miami. That race ended up not being good for him. He crashed, but I don't think it would have mattered. Jason West is just, he has that 100K distance down right now. He ran outside of his mind. The averages I saw, I think the GPS is a little bit off, but his average pace was under 5-minute pace.
Wow.
Which is just terrifying. I should probably retire. I have no business racing guys like this anymore. Apparently I'm either not on the good stuff or I'm just not good, one or the other. But yeah, that's basically it from the triathlon world. There was let me think.
Oceanside's the big
out in Lanzarote on the women's side. Annie Hogg threw down an absolutely mind-blowing run split.
She ran, I think, 116 and a half.
Like the 7th or 8th best overall run. She beat basically all but 8 guys in the pro field on the run, and just killed it. So that awesome. that was pretty amazing. But outside of that, yeah, everything's ramping up now with Oceanside, and then we'll have plenty more to talk about here coming up.
Oceanside's going to be the big one for sure.
Evan, call your shot on Oceanside.
Yep.
Where are you going to land?
Oh, where am I going to land?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's 72 guys on the start list. Big. 72.
Wow.
That is like an ITU sized field.
Big.
Let's say 60 guys race. I will call my shot. I will be 28th if 60 guys race.
Good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be 28th.
That'd
If
be
50,
great.
That would be great.
I would love my best day. If I race my absolute best day and I have some things fall into place, top 20 would be a dream. So top 20 is, if you guys see a teen next to my number, you know that I'm having many celebratory beers. Yeah, it's party time that night. So.
Very cool. All right.
Yep.
How about this?
All right, guys.
Let's do one last thing. You got one last thing you want to say before you head out?
Yeah, I'll try, and on that Monday when we come back, I'll try or that next week, try to hop on the podcast so I can give a report on the race too and how it went. But,
yes.
Yeah.
We'll need it.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. I'll probably come over to the neighborhood too to hang out that next week. So I'll see you guys then.
All right, Evan. Thanks for your time, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, Price.
Hey, Brandon, Lance. Bye, guys.
Lance, one last thing.
My one last thing is I'm just rubbing in the beauty that is this.
Yeah, you're killing us, man. You're killing us.
Yeah, his phone just...
Don't worry. It's just some sort of gorgeous beach, sunset or something. I don't know, Lance. It can't be sunset but at this time of day, but still, you're killing us.
Yeah. Hepler, you're a jackhole. You freaking ice cream sandwich.
Where?
Huh?
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
Sweet. All right.
Have a safe flight home, Lance.
Yep. Matt Legrand, one last thing.
I posted a video. It bombed last week or this week, Wednesday.
The Brighton one?
Brighton radar. No one cares.
No one cares.
No one wants to watch that. Like, I posted it and like a couple people watched it.
Yeah.
It's a great video. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Everyone that's listening, go check it out. It's something. It's a new radar on the market. It's a competitive option to the Garmin Varia radar.
Yep.
And now there are a couple of radars on the market. There's a couple of Varias, and then there's the Magine radar, and then there's this one from Brighton called the Brighton Guardia. Not Varia, Guardia.
Mm-hmm.
So slight difference there. Totally different product. Price point is $130, so you do save a little bit of money over the Garmin stuff. But post that video, and no one's that interested in it. So
now it's funny because I feel like I'm special, kind of like Matt Legrand.
Yep,
they reached out.
special.
They reached out and they wanted me to do a review because Lance and I have done a couple of reviews on some radars and they seem to have gotten a decent amount of traction. So they reached out and asked if we could do a similar review on that, which I was happy to oblige. They sent over everything, and I have probably used it for a total of maybe 6 or 7 hours of riding. I used it when we were down in Tucson, and I used it here when I did that ride last week on the flogging ride. I opted not to finalize a video because I would have felt really bad. And I, in turn, got back to them and said, listen, I can put out a video for you, and I'd be happy to do that if that's what you want me to do, but I don't think you're going to like what I have to say. So I just wanted to give you the option of, like, do you want to hear my concerns and see if you can address them, or would you like me to put the video out? And so the gentleman that I was working with, this is a super nice guy. Yeah. He said, please send over your concerns so that we can take that back and see if there's anything that we can do to, address those. Yep. And if he gets back to me within a few days and whatnot, and saying that they're working with it, and he acknowledges that, and I'll hold off and wait and see if they come out with a firmware update that solves said issues. And if
they
not,
came out with a firmware update yesterday, I think.
Another one yesterday?
I mean, this is the thing. This is constantly in development at this point.
Yeah.
It's just gonna take some iterations for them to flesh it out and get it anywhere close to where the Garmin Varia is. I just don't think it's quite the same quality when it comes to like detecting cars and doing it quickly and early enough and not giving you late detections and things like that. Not that they won't get there. It's just going to take time. Yeah. And I don't want to be the experimental person.
No. I mean, it's not like it's going to kill you, but you put that on your bike for a reason, because you want to rely on the information that it's giving you and to help protect yourself and put yourself in a good position.
The problem is you and I are both in a situation where we've been using the Varia radars for a very long time.
I've been using it since they came out. Yep. I've used every iteration, and it generally is not on my bike.
Since it was sideways. And so remember when it was like tilted sideways?
Yeah.
And it was
box,
great.
Yep.
And it was fantastic. And it was like one of these products where you start to lean on it so much that you stop turning and looking around. And so then when you have a different radar on there and it's not quite the same high quality, you really don't want to assume that there's no cars back there and drift into traffic.
Yeah.
So it could be dangerous.
Yeah. My final note to them is like, I really want this to work well for you, because I think it's good for the marketplace to have competition, because that's going to spur on innovation. That's going to push R&D stuff further. And maybe it's going to be, will be the benefactors of a better product, but it also brings the price down. I mean, for the Varia, it's the base one, well, not the base one, but the one with the flashing light on it's $200. And if you want the one without the light in it, I believe it's about the same price. I believe it's that 130 price tag, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I was going to say 150, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
But still, I think the thing to do is wait to find that Varia on sale, because it very frequently is 20% off.
Yeah, you will definitely see that when they're getting ready to come out with a new iteration, or around Black Friday, or there's usually one other time during the year that they'll run a sale. And Garmin's pretty good about giving us a heads up on that, and they actually work with us so that we can help pass that along with people as well. So that's a good thing. But this other one, I'm like, I just can't put my stamp of approval on this, and I don't want to come out and really bash you, because I want you to be successful in this marketplace. So
it'll be interesting because Brighton is one of these companies that they do a lot of cool bike stuff. They do bike computers. They're doing this radar. They I think they sponsor some sort of team. I don't think it's a big team or anything like that, but it's interesting. Like it's one of those things where it's like maybe it's something that Dialed would potentially bring into their sales repertoire, but they got to make good stuff, and it's got to be rock solid for you guys to carry.
Got to be reliable.
So.
Yep, too many issues. So, but we'll circle back and see what they say. Hopefully, we can come back with a better report, because I do think that it would be nice to be able to offer that to people.
I think it'll be good to see a video that's like, this was released, and all these reviews came out right when it was released. Here's how things look after it's kind of updated some of the firmware a little bit, and things have solidified a little bit. Yeah, because I'm not going to go back and make another video about this one. Yeah, so. It'd be nice if someone did.
Yeah, it went from really bad, because you've had this for some time now.
I've had it for a long time.
Went from really bad to put it on the shelf and wait for them to fix it. And then they came back and they fixed it. And it was like, all right, it's good. You're really close. And then they came out with another firmware update, and it went back to really bad.
I've had it for even longer. I think something
6 or 7 months.
Yeah, something really, really long. And at first it just didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And then they got they actually sent me a whole new device, and so I think I have 2 of them. But
wow.
But the old one, I don't even know if it's functional or whatever. But yeah, so this one, it was okay, and I think that you said that they updated the firmware and it kind of got a little shaky.
They came out with a firmware update last week, a week ago from now, and it was working okay. I had some issues with false positives. I had some issues with late cars popping up.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's not perfect, but it's not
it's not horrible.
It's not horrible, but it's almost serviceable. I personally wouldn't spend less to get that particular device, but if they can fine tune that, then even better. Then they said, all right, we're coming out with our final firmware update. I'm like, sweet, hopefully it'll solve all the problems. And it made it even worse. I mean, I had to restart it multiple times just to get it to pick up cars. I probably had in a 2-hour time span 15-ish false positives. I had it throwing up things on my head unit saying that it had a low battery. When I checked on the app to check to see exactly where it's at 52%. I'm like, this just isn't going really well, guys.
Going well, guys. Yeah, and so my fear is that for me, it's like this happens with products where they're like, oh, we're going to update firmware. Tell your people or whatever. I'm like, no, the ship has sailed. I'm probably going to put this in a box, put it somewhere, and then move on, because there's so many other things to review and so many other videos to make. And so it's a little tricky, because you do want these companies or you want to have a good reflection of where these things are, but it's hard when firmware comes out after the launch that fixes the problems.
Yeah.
So.
And for you, because you're putting out so many videos and you're busy and you've got a queue of stuff lined up for probably weeks. I mean, you've got a ton of stuff that you want to make. So to come back and touch up on that again, it's probably a pain in the butt for you.
Right. Well, it's just like, I don't want to spend a whole week's, if I do one video per week, I don't want to spend a whole week on, this is a product I've already reviewed and here's the update. Unless it's something that's extremely popular. Yeah. Because then, I'll come back and talk about the Apple Watch Ultra, of course. But this video got no views. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Did you even crack 1,000 views on it?
Oh, it's at 200 views right now.
Oh my goodness. That's for you. That's brutal.
Or 300 maybe.
I mean, you usually get a couple hundred just in the first hour of posting a video. Oh, geez.
It's right at around 300.
Gotcha.
So not good.
Cool. All right. Well, I would call it my one last thing, but I'll come out. I've got one more week of getting stuff done. We'll have to We'll put out a podcast next week, but we might have to record 2 next week because I'm going to be taking off on April 1st. I'm going to be gone for a whole week. So I'm
going somewhere fun?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to Mexico.
You guys usually do something fun for spring break.
We generally don't leave the country, though, and we're leaving the country this go-around. So
where are you going?
We're going to, is it Playa del Carmen? Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
Lance will know.
Yeah, it's Playa del Carmen. My wife and my daughter have been planning this whole thing, and it's by Cozumel, maybe? Cancun? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's Playa del Carmen, but we're just looking forward to doing that.
Are you bringing a bike?
I am not bringing a bike. And so that was going to be the one little sticking point, but I don't know if I want to be riding a bike down there. I think I'm going to be more keen on finding a workout facility that I can go jump on a stationary bike. But Playa del Carmen, I'm almost 100% sure that that's where we're going. So if anybody has any recommendations or suggestions of things to do down there outside of this little resort that we're staying at, which should be pretty cool, I'm all ears because I'm looking for some fun and I need to get out of town and I want some sunny weather.
Yeah,
really want some sunny weather. Yeah, it's like I want to go back to Tucson, but yeah, we need to get some more sun.
Good.
Cool.
There's Lance.
Lance is over here flexing and showing us the Hawaiian landscape here. And
looks gorgeous there.
You're not too far away from the ocean, Lance. How much swimming did you do?
I did do a single swim.
Triathlete.
I did. I put a mask and snorkel and fins on and did some snorkeling, if you can call it a swim. I was ripping it at 6 minute per 100 meter pace.
Nailed it.
So nailed.
Did you see any cool fish or turtles or hear any whales or anything?
I was in a little bay that had like 40 turtles in it.
Whoa.
So swimming around with the turtles and following them, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So.
Cool. All right, you guys got anything else? We all done with this one?
That's it.
Cool. Lance, we'll catch you. We'll see you tomorrow. My phone will be silenced tonight if for some reason your daughters forget to pick you up at the airport at 1 a.m. But
we got it all settled.
Okay. There's this thing called Uber if you get into a sticky spot. So, all right, we will be back next week with another one of these. And until then, bye for now.